We all experience challenging and difficult situations in life. In the face of these complexities, it is not always clear how to respond, what to do, or what to avoid. It's easy to get stuck in these moments and stop moving forward in life. Wholeness with Naomi is a program that explores our experiences with such encounters and provides tools and strategies that can enable anyone facing these hardships to continue walking their path in life. We can't wait to meet you on this journey. Tune in, your life is about to change for the better.
Welcome to our program, Wholeness with Naomi, where we talk about difficult and sometimes different situations that may come our way. More importantly, we talk about some of the tools that you can use as you navigate in these difficult or different life paths. Today we're talking about the subject of dating. And dating when one is slightly older, in your late 20s and in your 30s, what that looks like, the challenges that one may encounter as they walk in that journey. Joining us in the studio today is Mr Ezekial Bwanya, who works with young adults, navigate through different situations in life as well, and most importantly, on the subject of dating. Welcome to the show, Mr Ezekiel.
Thank you so much, Naomi. I'm happy and excited to be here.
Yes, thank you. We're talking about the subject of dating. Maybe let's just start with what dating is. What does it look like? What is it?
Well, I think we have two positions when we talk about dating. We have the European and we have the African.
Okay.
In Europe, when they talk about dating, it's a process where they're trying to find a match. Okay. So they go on dates, actually that's that particular word, with different people, just trying to appreciate them, their personality, do they match and stuff. But in Africa, if the moment you say dating, that was serious. You know, so because of that, it then complicates things. There's still not that particular line, but I feel like dating is a process of trying to find the right fit for you. Okay. Someone that you can, that you are compatible with and you can actually do life with.
Okay. Yeah. So from what you just said, it's still open. One is trying out.
Yes.
There is no commitment yet, but you're trying to see, is this person the right fit for me? Okay. So when we are talking about dating, as I mentioned earlier on, when one is slightly older, and I'm not saying that one is older when they're in their late 20s, but according to societal standards, many times people feel that, I'm a bit older in this game, 20s, 30s. And one usually has a past, How does that past influence one's decision to go into dating? Are they more wiser? Or they have issues that they need to deal with? How does it affect one in that aspect?
So I think we need to define two things. There's issue of dating, there's the issue of courtship.
Okay.
So dating is shopping.
Okay.
Dating is shopping, and I tell you, a lot of people are comfortable shopping. Yes, shopping is there's no commitment much. Okay. And but when it comes to courtship, it means you are now trying to be serious with someone, and I think that's where the problem is, because when you are coming from a place of hurt, your trust has been broken. So trying again is almost like going to a physio, trying to walk again. It's not a joke. You are learning to trust again. For me, I'm talking from a personal perspective. I remember coming from my divorce, I struggled so much to commit. Okay. I would get closer to it, then take flight. Okay. And that's a teaser. Then I actually had to figure it out again to say what exactly is going on with me right now. So there's a book that I read from a guy called Henry Cloud, if you've heard, called Changes That Heal. Okay. So he told me about learning to walk again. Okay. And I think quite a lot of people are there. After being hurt, it's kind of difficult to come back into the game and really trust someone else because you're walking on eggshells. And also it depends with the level of healing that you have gone through. I tell you, in Africa, we don't go through process of counseling. Either way, we don't have the resources, or it's not in our normal culture to really go out and share your personal stories and issues with someone else that you don't know. So we have that challenge where especially in our context, we have people who haven't really healed because there's no process of healing. And where they are, they're just there hoping that when they jump into the next one, it will automatically happen, but they've got wounds that are still under, that are also affecting decisions and processes of dating and courtship.
Okay, thank you for your personal sharing as well.
Yeah.
I'm interested in finding out, you mentioned the aspect of one being hurt, you know, especially coming from previous relationships.
Yes.
Usually the reason one leaves the relationship is maybe they're not compatible, and some hurts may be there as well because I was hoping maybe it could lead to somewhere further. How do these hurts affect one when they enter into a new relationship without processing them fully?
So that I want to share today from my personal journey. I think some people might then resonate with my story as well. I think one of the things that I struggled with was issue of rejection.
Okay.
Because when somebody then ghosts you, let's introduce the word ghost.
And that's the word that's used.
Yes, if somebody just takes flight and ghosts you, today you were texting and calling, and next time there's no conversation, they're not picking up your phone, you kind of feel like, so what's wrong with me? Am I worthy? And worse off, there's no closure. You know, in America and Europe, they're okay with having these hard conversations where they sit down and say, you know what, it's not working. But
I'm moving forward.
Let's move forward. You are not for me. I appreciate you. You're a nice person. But in Africa, we don't do that. We just
how do we do it?
In Africa, there's no buy. You not so that's a sad part, because we are hurting each other by not being honest. Because remember, in Africa, saying no is offensive. So people they think I have to be polite and just do it silently. Joseph. I think that's our culture, and we think that's the right way. But not knowing it's actually killing quite a lot of people out there, not giving them the right closure, because it leaves them thinking, so what's wrong with me? Am I beautiful enough? You know, what did I miss? What am I lacking? So when they now go to the next one, they are going there with half confidence, you know, or they're just going with a different mentality altogether. You know, they're just going out there to just experience, or even to hurt others as well. You know, hating people hurt others more. So I feel like as long as there's no proper closure to someone, that person will go to the next one with wounds as well.
Okay, that's really quite profound. And even viewers, as you're watching, when you come to a place where something has happened and your heart has been hurt, your heart has been bruised, and you do not work on those wounds, many times hurt people, they hate others. Take time to really process yourself. You're coming from a relationship, maybe it was toxic, maybe it was hurtful to you. In one way or the other, take time to rebuild yourself. Take time to heal, such that you're able to present the best of yourself in the next relationship. Let's take a short break. Do join me in the next segment. Thank you. Welcome back, viewers, to our program, Honest with Naomi. Today we're talking about the subject of dating, especially when one is older, in your late 20s and in your 30s. The reason why we're talking about that is that sometimes the dynamics are so different from when you were much younger. I want us to talk, Mr. Ezekiel, about the fear of starting again. You were in a relationship, you were hurt. Now you want to enter into another one. Maybe there's someone that is approached, or there's someone that you like, you know, depending on which gender you are. The fear of starting again. To what extent does it affect someone to actually step into another relationship?
Like we said before, thank you so much. That's a powerful question, Naomi. Issues that have not been dealt with will always come up the moment you want to activate the same process. So issues of trust will come back as long as you haven't really sat down to deal with the real issues, especially issues that hurt you. You know, for me, I realized I had to sit down and ask that critical and painful question that, yes, I was hurt, but how exactly was I hurt? I had to really dig deep and define it so that when I'm now approaching the next relationship, I'm also conscious about that aspect of my emotion. Because sometimes when somebody, then, like for me it was rejection, someone intentionally forgets to text me back hi. If I'm not conscious about that thing, I'll then take it as the usual, you know. But
they're
now,
rejecting me.
Yes,
they don't want me.
They don't want me.
And that negative tape starts rolling in.
Yes. So you have to then be conscious about it and sometimes speak against it and say, you know what, I want to move forward. Like we were talking about physio. You know, when you get in an accident, you're hurt, you are actually trying to learn to walk again. It's pretty much what you're going through that process. So you have to be intentional. It hurts, it's painful. And sometimes you have to talk about it. Especially if you are now dealing with mature ones. You have to then talk about it and say, you know what, I'm coming from this and I've got triggers. And when you do this, this is what I sometimes...
It hurts me, this is what it means to me.
I translate it into this. Not because you are intentionally trying to hurt me or you're doing it. Because some people can be sincere and sincerely wrong. And be so unconsciously doing something that hurts the other person. So because of that, you got to be willing to have those conversations and communication and say, you know what, we are trying, both of us are trying to come back into this game. We've got our past. I don't know what you went through and you don't know what I went through. For us to really make this work, let's have those conversations. I want to know what makes you feel some type of way, and I will tell you also what makes you feel some type of way. And that way, the other person can be also conscious about it, and we can then really, love is about giving. I'm supposed to save the other person and the person save me, so I cannot save them the way they are supposed to be saved if I don't know the critical information that they are carrying.
And as you open up, you're allowing yourself to be vulnerable to the extent that the other person is now able to know you as a person.
Yes.
Because remember, you're learning about each other. And as you're opening up yourself to the person, it allows room for that. There's something that I learned in counseling, which I think would also benefit our viewers, which is called the 3 R's, especially when we hear negative tapes. Because these things, sometimes they do impact us very negatively. Like you, for example, I'll use the example of rejection that you mentioned, where you enter into another relationship and maybe you say good morning and they don't respond. And you'd find sometimes the negative words that may start going in your mind is, they don't like me. Maybe I'm not lovable. Maybe they thought I'm not worth to be texted good morning or to be responded back. And when you allow these tapes to start rolling, sometimes they start playing even when at rest, and they now influence how you feel at the end of the day. What I've learned is using what is called the 3 R's. The first R is recognize the tape as it is playing, because what you'd feel are the emotions which are negative. Reject it and say what can be true about that situation. So it's recognize, reject, and you replace. So it can be, I'm not lovable. You say, I'm not lovable. But now you're cancelling it. And then you say, I'm a child of God. I'm accepted and I am loved. Them not responding to me is not an indication of my worth as a person. And you'd find when you say this would affect even how you feel about yourself and ultimately about the relationship. I want to find out, Mr. Ezekiel, is there someone called the wrong person? These are wrong people that you should not fall in love with.
Okay. So I feel like what makes two people make it in life together is their compatibility. Do they have the same values? Are they going, to the same place? Are they trying to reach the same direction? You know, what they love, is it what you love? Mwana kwenda out yoda kusukara mumba. You know, it's not going to affect those kind of things. So it's true. Someone may be okay, nice person, but they are not just okay for you.
Okay.
Yes. I think that's where we are getting it all wrong. Sometimes we think just because I'm a nice person, everybody wants me and everybody loves me. That's, no. There are certain people that you actually really vibe with, that you can actually live with. kune vamwe vanhu kuti unongofarira kuti you spend time with them in the morning and by afternoon you are okay to leave them.
Okay.
You know,
Okay.
yeah.
So in other words, that entails you knowing about who you are as a
Yes.
person and also knowing what is the type of person that you're looking out for.
Yes. True.
And when you see that not matching, that may not be the right person for you.
Yes.
But you'd find sometimes people settle in relationships where they fully were aware, they knew what they wanted, but they just settled in, maybe for convenience. Maybe they feel time is running out.
Yes.
Does that really work?
Actually, zvakunetsa mazuva ano vanhu vakuzotsvaga masoulmate avo vamumba. So here's a scenario. Like, you have this decent guy who's in your DMs. He's very decent, very established. He's got his life sorted out. But he doesn't have the vibe that you want. Okay. Conversation again not to bore. Maybe the maximum you want to dial to a you know, but that's all you have. Conversation doesn't go anyway. And it's like, but you know the type of person you want. You are super talkative. You want to share your experiences when you get home. You want somebody who also talks and, you know, you laugh and, you know, that kind of a thing. But this person doesn't. So what people are now doing, unfortunately, they want security, but when they settle for security, you know, life is too long.
That's true.
Life is super too long to settle. So they eventually realize that I've made a mistake. I've just settled for this person. And I think it's what's promoting so many, you know, out of marriage relationships. Now you're looking for something that is supposed to be in your marriage, something that fills that emptiness that you ignored when you were supposed to make decisions about.
That's profound. And
Yeah.
I think, you know, viewers, as you're listening as well, this is something that, especially when you're a young adult and you're looking forward to, you know, to finding that Mr. Right or Mrs. Right for you. Look at it, give yourself time. What is it that you want in that person? Settling for someone because time has moved, you would have much more problems than you had initially. And even talk about the fights even in the marriage, talk about even statistics about separation and all that, you know, all of those things would also come as well. Take your time. You are not rushing anyway. And give it, you know, your best shot. And then see how everything goes. In the church, this is a subject that is also being discussed as well. You'd find in the church, munoita vasikana vari single varimo, vakomana varimo shakari, but they are not finding each other. Chii chaizvo. Chii chinenge varimo vese, but they are just, and they're looking outside the church.
I feel like churches have not really managed to create more social circles.
Okay.
Where singles meet singles. We are losing in terms of the social network and the social currency. We only meet on a Sunday. There is nothing that happens really intentionally outside. There's no social.
That's true.
Social side that is being promoted. And unfortunately, because like when we were young, it was easier. We'd meet at a youth group, then we'd do brides, and we'd then do, you know, the movie nights, you know, the whatever. But now, you know, you are grown, the terrain has changed, you've got commitments, your free time is also limited as well. How do we then synergize those free times to bring them together? I think that's still a challenge for quite a lot of churches, because also quite a lot of churches are not yet intentional about that. You know, they're okay with you now, me, who is single, which contribute to church, you know, and my sister, my senior sister, plus you've got your staff established, so you've got the resources as well. So sometimes people then will just like you for the resources that you can bring to church, but not really be concerned about your welfare. Okay. So my hope and prayer is churches be intentional about really creating atmospheres and environments for mature people to connect and really,
Thank you for that. You know, whilst, you know, you mentioned that churches should be intentional, but I think it also goes to the personal, to the individual as well. Stay a little bit long after church. Stay a little bit long after church. Interact, mingle with those ones. You know, and just don't rush to get home. Do join me in the next segment. Thank you. Welcome back to our program, Honest with Naomi. I want to understand, currently, you know, the world has changed. There's technology now. There are dating apps. Is that something that young adults should consider with the context of maybe Zimbabwean, our culture?
Honestly, like for me, I don't think it's something that I would want to venture into, because I'm big on connection.
You like the traditional way?
I like the traditional, you know the person, you really, first of all, see them and like what you see, meet up to see what you like. You know, that kind of a thing.
The text message.
And at the same time, I think with also the inception of all this technology, there's also the danger that is coming with it.
Okay.
There are also incidences and you know, police, you know, cases where they also put themselves from apps because they know you are desperate and you are really looking for companionship and you need. So it's kind of tricky. We are learning from it, but I know some environments, they actually work because they are naturally on social media platforms. And their systems are okay to even do background checks and stuff. Here, we don't have that capacity, so I wouldn't want to put myself in such a danger when I have no 360 view of the whole situation.
Okay, that's interesting. Yeah. What words do you have for viewers that are watching the show? Adults, young adults in their late 20s, in their 30s, that are really trying to find that person. But sometimes the journey is really tough.
Yes. I think my parting words will be, Mama did not raise a quitter.
Keep trying.
Keep trying, man. Love is a beautiful thing.
It is.
You deserve to be loved and you deserve to love. Just because it has failed doesn't mean you do not deserve that. So keep going and keep praying as well. God will direct you to the right person. I think you gotta do it prayerfully, because this is a spiritual institution that God instituted himself. So if you want really a better success, you gotta go back to the maker of and the designer of the whole project. So keep praying about it. And as well, if you want a good person, go to places where you have possibility of meeting good people.
I like that.
Yes. Or don't expect kuwana type kuzimwe nzimbo.
That's true.
You know, if at least try there, at least you know you have higher percentages of winning because you've placed yourself in the right environment. So environment also determines success. You know, and kati ndoda goridhe no andangoenda pambara apa ndotanga kungochera pasingazikanwa kuti hapane goridhe rakati hapana, but there are places that I really know that kutone deposit yegold yakatomboonekwa rimwe. You know, so yeah, put yourself in the right environments and also have the right mindset. Also, your intention determines the person that you attract.
Okay.
Yeah, I hope and pray that you also work on yourself as an individual and allow God to process you before you start to engage, so that the person who comes into your space as well, they resonate with you the same way you want them to resonate with you.
Thank you so much for that, Mr. Ezekial. Viewers, there is no perfect person. Choose someone that meets most of those things that you'd say are the core things, the values that you'd say, on this one, I do not waver. As you're in that period of waiting, work on yourself, develop yourself, such that you become the right person, even for the person that will be coming. Mr. Ezekiel said, Mama didn't raise a quitter. Keep on trying. Keep on trying in those right places. In good time, you'll find that perfect person. But do not be in a rush to get there. Find someone that not necessarily makes you feel whole, because that is not possible, but someone that, you know, helps or adds value to you in a way. Do join us in the next episode, but in the meantime, stay in wholeness. Thank you.